Hello, welcome back everyone. I have just been chatting to Sam Everingham, who is the founder of Growing Families Surrogacy Agency, and we are talking all about surrogacy in Ireland. And we are being joined today, or this evening, by Tracy, who is an expert and a fertility surrogacy lawyer, Tracy Horan from Ireland, Dublin, and she's just having problems connecting. So please bear with us. Today, let's hope that this works. Hello, welcome back.
Hello, good to see you.
I'm trying to bring Tracy in, but it keeps saying that she's unable to connect.
Will I try and come off and let her in first?
You can give that a go. Let's see if that works. If not, we can try and reconnect again.
Okay, sure.
Welcome everyone, nice to see you. If you have any questions whilst we're chatting this evening, please feel free to ask. The experts are here to answer any questions. The more questions, the better. And we are talking about surrogacy in Ireland, being joined by Sam Everingham, who is the founder of Growing Families Surrogacy Agency, and also Tracy Horan, who has joined, I believe. Hello, welcome.
My lord, I'm on my phone. My desktop wasn't working. My apologies.
No
I'm on my
problem.
mobile.
You are here now, so that's great. I'm just trying to get Sam back in now. He left so you could join. So let's see if we
We
can
can
get it
welcome him back in.
working, because we have some great questions for you this evening.
Yes.
So welcome to those who are joining.
Hey, Sam. How are you?
Oh,
I'm good.
there you are. Hello, welcome back. We've done it. The three of us are here together. Fantastic. So Tracy, Sam and I have just been chatting, and we've introduced Growing Families Surrogacy Agency. We've talked a little bit about surrogacy in Ireland and Growing Families' upcoming event. But if you could please introduce yourself and your expertise in the
Yes.
surrogacy and fertility law world, that would be great.
Eloise, I'm a solicitor in Dublin. I've been doing surrogacy for 15 years now. From the inception, Sam has been great throughout the years. Back in the day in Ireland, we used to go to London for his conferences because there was nowhere in Ireland. There was nobody talking about surrogacy, but it's grown so much over the years. There is a lot happening now here in Ireland. I've been involved with cases all over the world. Most cases I've been involved in, I've done surrogacy, I think, in every jurisdiction you can do it in, and more or less seen it all at this stage.
Fantastic. So it would be great to ask you a little bit about what kind of legislation is in place for ART in Ireland.
At the moment, unfortunately, there's no legislation whatsoever. However, I think I heard Sam just there is legislation which has been through our Parliament and will be enacted, we believe, in October, which will deal with surrogacy. It will deal with domestic, and there's going to be an amendment to it to deal with international surrogacy. So it's going to provide a framework. The legislation is very much based on the UK legislation. So people that are familiar with the UK legislation, it's very much so like that. It is a huge document. It is very much in relation to surrogacy, focusing on domestic altruistic surrogacy. In relation to commercial surrogacy, we really haven't fine-tuned that yet, and that hopefully will be in the amended bill. But at the moment, there are going to be certain jurisdictions, we understand from the reading of it, certain jurisdictions that are going to be approved, an improved list of areas that we and countries that we can go to. However, again, it is more leaning that it will be altruistic surrogacy, such as Canadian surrogacy, which is absolutely altruistic. So the whole ethos and of the legislation is for altruistic, ethical surrogacy that is open and transparent. And I think that that's running right through it. And that is the priority, really, for the legislator.
And for those who are doing surrogacy, who is the legal parent or guardian?
Okay, so at this moment in time, if you came into my office and you're going through surrogacy, the position is that the person who gives birth to the child is the legal guardian of that child. If she is married, and then her husband, both of them are presumed. Now that is rebutted by DNA, and usually it's the intended father's DNA which rebuts that. We then make applications in the court in Ireland for a declaration of parentage to give full rights to the commissioning father. Unfortunately, as of today, the commissioning mother, she has absolutely no rights whatsoever until the child is 2 years of age. It's very unfortunate, but that's what the position is.
It's incredible in this day that is the case, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that
Given
absolutely is. Yeah,
how many advances there have been in family building and different scenarios for family building as well.
exactly. And what a family is, a traditional family is no longer mom and dad. That we've moved on so much,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, the legislation that is coming in will not deal with, say, same-sex couples, female same-sex couples. Unfortunately, there are going to have to be more amendments to this legislation, but unfortunately, it's huge. It's been so difficult to get where we are at the moment. So at least we are moving forward here in this jurisdiction.
And when you have couples or solo parents by choice coming to you to start this process, are they surprised when you tell them that this is going to be the scenario? Is it something that people are educated on?
Well, I think over the years, what has happened here in Ireland is we've been doing it a long time now, and surrogacy, as I say, way back even 15 years ago, there was very few people embarking in surrogacy here in Ireland. Whereas now, you'd be amazed the amount of surrogacy arrangements that have been entered and the amount of kids that are born through surrogacy. You would be astonished. But what has developed over the years, and you might be astonished that there is no legislation, but we have a really well put together legislation which does deal with it and has worked to date to get parental order for the parents or for the father and then recognise the mother, which has worked. So there's been nothing to be really frightened about when you're embarking in surrogacy here in Ireland. It has worked extremely well.
It's really reassuring to hear. Anything to add there, Sam?
I think I was just going to ask Tracy, what do you think is happening in the interim period here while things are still sort of in change, if you like, in Ireland? Are people still going to be engaging sort of in overseas jurisdictions during this interim period?
That's a very good question, Sam. And I think my advice to people who are considering surrogacy at this particular time, if you're on the fence and you don't know whether you're going to jump or not, is that you really should enter surrogacy agreements now as soon as possible and get your transfers done as soon as possible. Because really we've no idea when this legislation is going to be enacted. And then it's a whole new process, whole different landscape, a new landscape that we really don't know how it's going to work in real terms. So if you're considering it, I wouldn't go for it now if you can at all.
Yeah, because I understand the new legislation is talking about having a regulatory body set up which has to pre-approve the surrogate before you start. So you've got to sort of take you to the regulatory body, give a stamp of approval.
Yeah, you were dead right. It's like adoption. You'd be familiar with adoption and going before adoption boards, the parents going before adoption boards and being vetted. It's going to be something very similar. The surrogate mother, similarly, the surrogacy agreement. That is what is envisaged by a regulation body who will be they will be making the final decision on whether or not you can go to whatever jurisdiction you're considering or do what you want to do. So whether this is a good thing or a bad thing remains to be seen.
Yeah.
It may make the process a little more complicated and long-winded.
I believe so. Yes, I agree. Yes, I don't want to sit on the fence myself, but I think yes, it is going to make it a little bit more difficult. Yes, it certainly is.
And what about those who already have children via surrogacy in Ireland?
So, in relation to the bill is not going to affect people who
Okay.
say have had babies. It's going to do nothing negative, except what it will do is retrospective recognition, which is a fantastic step forward. But in relation, it has no negative consequences for anyone who's entered surrogacy to date or has had a baby to date.
Okay. And where do Irish singles and couples typically engage for surrogacy in Ireland?
So the Irish, we all go, we follow each other. We tend to follow each other. India was massive, and
Okay.
then India closed, so everyone went to Ukraine, and we had
Yeah.
great relationships over there. It worked very well, and that closed. And now what I see at the moment is a huge amount of Cyprus
Yeah.
and Georgia. And then if you have the finances for it, Canada and US.
Yeah. Of course. Okay. And what about changes? Have there been many well, you just mentioned the different countries that people are going to, and I've seen since since the ribbon box has been with our community for over 6 years, I've seen changes even in that time, obviously with what's been happening in Ukraine and as you mentioned, the increase in Cyprus. But what would your advice be for those
My,
who are looking into surrogacy in terms of a starting point?
I spend hours with clients sitting down talking in my boardroom with them. And my advice is that the landscape of surrogacy can change overnight.
Hmm.
And my advice would be not to reinvent the wheel. Don't go off and think that you're going to find some country yourself that's going to be cheaper, that nobody has been to. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't be the first person to go off in your own tangent. Go to trusted providers. Go to countries that we've had a lot of success with, and embrace those places. And just be very cautious in what you're doing.
Hmm. Hmm. And Sam, anything to add there? Obviously, this is why you're holding such fantastic events so that people can be educated on the process, where to go, how to do it, how growing families can support people from start to finish. What would your advice be? And if you could just tell us again about the event, because I think we've got cut off since the last live.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think key advice is to don't engage until you have talked to other parents, other experts like Tracy and myself who helped manage these journeys over years, because they do require, a lot of upfront knowledge. As Tracy said, there's a long track record of Irish people engaging, but it's important to understand, what that journey will look like and what the finances will look like for you, and how you'll bring your baby home, and how you'll be supported along the way. And there's a myriad complicated issues here about relationships with surrogates and so forth that you need to understand. And what we like to do is really make sure people can hear from surrogates and hear from parents at these events, so they can actually come away with a much better understanding of how it's going to work for them. And there's much more transparency about the process, rather than being a black box where people are just not knowing what they're going into. As Tracy said, the last thing we want is people taking big risks with the process. So tried and trusted routes are important for the Irish community, and that's what we're all about, is sharing those stories.
And for people who want to find out more about your September event, please follow the link in our bio where you can book a seat, book a spot, and find out about what the event holds. Anything to add, Tracy?
No, I look forward to seeing everybody at the event in Dublin, and hopefully we can share our knowledge, which I sit for hours sharing my knowledge. So take as much advice as you possibly can when you're embarking on your journey.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I just think it's wonderful that these options exist for people. And also donor conception options as well. I have 5 children via sperm donor conception, so
Wow.
I know well what
Yeah.
the process for that is like, including 2 sets of twins. So,
Oh, wow.
um, uh,
Holy moly.
yes, yes. So for anyone who
Congratulations.
has, thank you, who has any questions on the donor conception front as well, we're always here. And so, yeah, third party reproduction holds a very special place in my heart, as I know it does with yours as well, Sam. So, thank you both
Thank
so
you.
much for chatting with me. Apologies for everyone joining
Oh,
with the
yes.
difficulties at the beginning, but very, very educational and useful conversation. And please do head to our link in bio to find out more and register for the upcoming event in September.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks, Eloise. Good to talk to you.
Tracy.
Thank you. Bye,
Thanks,
Eloise.
Sam.
Bye
You
bye.
too.
Bye.
Bye bye.